Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, I want to share something a little different. Something from the heart. I'm turning 75 this year, and as you can imagine, that milestone brings a lot of reflection. I've been thinking about my life, the paths I've taken, and the one constant that has guided me through it all, my faith. For 3/4 of a century, I've been on this journey, and I wanted to share with you what I've discovered about God and the beauty of community along the way. When I was a child, my understanding of God was simple, almost like a storybook character. He was the big man in the sky who watched over everything, a distant but powerful figure. I learned the prayers, I went to church, and I tried my best to be a good kid. My faith was built on rules and stories passed down to me. It was a solid foundation, but it was also very black and white. There was a right way and a wrong way, and I was taught that God was primarily a judge, keeping score of my actions. As I grew into my teenage years and early adulthood, that simple faith was tested. Life got complicated. I started asking questions, big questions. Why do bad things happen to good people? God is all loving. Why is there so much suffering in the world? Suddenly, the black and white picture started to fill with shades of gray. I wrestled with doubt. There were times I felt distant from God, times I wasn't even sure if I believed anymore. It was a turbulent period, but looking back, it was also incredibly important. That struggle, that wrestling, was the beginning of my faith becoming my own, not just something I had inherited. It was during these years that I learned faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about learning to live with the questions and trusting in a presence that is bigger than my own understanding. Then came the middle years of my life career, marriage, raising a family. This is when my understanding of God shifted dramatically from a distant judge to a constant companion. Life was a whirlwind of responsibilities, joys, and heartbreaks. There are moments of incredible happiness, like holding my first child, and moments of deep sorrow, like losing my parents. Through it all, I started to see God not in the grand, booming voice from the clouds, but in the quiet, everyday moments. I found God in the kindness of a neighbor who brought over a meal when we were struggling, in the unwavering support of my spouse during a difficult time, and in the innocent laughter of my children. God wasn't just in the church on Sunday. He was in my home, in my workplace, in my relationships. He was the strength I didn't know I had, the peace that calmed my anxious heart in the middle of the night. This was the period I learned that God is deeply, profoundly personal. He meets us right where we are, in the mess and the glory of our ordinary lives. This brings me to the second part of my discovery, community. For the longest time, I thought faith was a solo journey, just me and God. But I was wrong. My faith truly came alive when I embraced community. I'm not just talking about going to church, I'm talking about genuine, authentic relationships with people who are also on this journey. A true faith community is a place where you can be yourself, doubts and all. It's a group of people who celebrate with you in your victories and who sit with you in your sorrows, not trying to fix you, but simply being present. I've discovered that God often speaks to us through other people. I have received more wisdom and encouragement over a simple cup of coffee with a friend than from any book I've ever read. I've seen the face of God in the actions of my community. When a family in our group lost their home to a fire, it was the community that rallied around them, providing food, shelter, and comfort. When I faced a health scare, it was my friends from my faith group who called, prayed, and just let me know I wasn't alone. In these moments, you see that faith is not meant to be lived in isolation. We are designed to support one another, to carry each other's burdens, and to reflect God's love to one another. Community is where faith gets its hands and feet. It's where the abstract concepts of love, grace, and forgiveness become real, tangible experiences. Now, at 75, my perspective has shifted once again. I see my faith journey not as a straight line, but as a spiral. I keep circling back to the same fundamental truths, but each time I see them from a higher, more nuanced perspective. The simple trust of my childhood, the questioning of my youth, and the personal relationship of my adult years have all merged. My faith is now less about rules and more about relationship. It's less about fear and more about a profound sense of gratitude and wonder. I no longer see God as a distant judge, but as the very fabric of existence, the love that connects us all. I've learned that doubt is not the opposite of faith. It's a part of it. It's what keeps our faith dynamic and alive, preventing it from becoming rigid dogma. I've learned that God's grace is far more expansive than I could ever imagine, and it's not something we earn. It's a gift we simply receive. Or perhaps, most importantly, I've learned that a life of faith is not about achieving perfection. It's about the journey itself. It's about getting up every day and trying to love God and love the people around you a little bit better than you did the day before. It's about forgiving yourself when you fail and accepting the grace to try again. It's great. What is the culmination of 75 years of faith? It's a quiet confidence. It's a deep-seated peace that doesn't get rattled by the chaos of the world. It's knowing that I am loved unconditionally and that my life has a purpose beyond what I can see. It's the joy I find in a sunrise, in a good conversation, in the shared meal with my community. My journey has taught me that God is more mysterious, more loving, and more present than I could have ever conceived as a child. And community is the sacred space where that divine love is made real. If you're watching this and you're just starting your journey, or if you're in a place of doubt, please know that it's okay. Be patient with yourself. Ask the hard questions. Find a few trusted people to walk alongside you. Your faith doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Let it be your own unique, beautiful journey. Thank you so much for letting me share a piece of my story with you today. Teen, it means the world to me. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.